Hey, we're going to take this opportunity to show you how to install disc brakes on a B&P hand truck and other hand trucks that aren't B&P. B&P's created a kit that allows you to just simply remove the original wheels, the original axle, and both of the wheel brackets and replace them with a disc brake kit. Okay, we're gonna remove both of the old wheels. We're not going to reuse them. We're going to get rid of the old axle. And the washers, we're not going to use those. Alright, so I've removed the fasteners from the wheel brackets, so we're going to remove those. We're not going to use those again. We're going to remove the fasteners. And the only thing that we're going to recycle is the frame stiffeners, and the nose plate. Okay, so we installed the left side axle bracket. We put the bolts and the nuts in. We haven't completely tightened it. At this time, you want to put the axle in the forward groove if you're using a 10-inch tire, and you want to take the roll pin and align it with the slot. You have to do this before you put the right side on. We've installed the right side wheel bracket, and the axle's in place. The roll pin is lined up with the grooves, and so now it's time to tighten up all the fasteners on the lower end. And then we're going to finish tightening what we snugged up on the left side. In the B&P disc brake conversion kit, there's two different washers. There's two thin ones and two thick ones. The thin one always goes on first, followed by the wheel, hub, and disc brake assembly. Then you put the thick one on the outside prior to installing the cotter. You have the right side on, you can go through, take the thin washer goes on the inside, take your wheel, hub, and disc rotor assembly, goes on the axle, followed up by the thick washer, and then the cotter pin. You'll see from our instructions that we say it's very important to make sure you properly bend the cotter pin that holds on your wheel to the axle. You can't bend one leg, you need to bend both legs to assure that it does not come out the way we have this one bent here. The disc caliper is used on this disc brake conversion kit. There is a right caliper and a left caliper, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to orientate the caliper with the arm facing the frame. And once you have that into position on this left side caliper, you take the pull bar that activates the caliper and you insert it in the aftmost activation hole, and then you slide that over the caliper and repeat the same step on the right side. I have both calipers and the pull bar installed on the disc rotors. Now we have to put the caliper sliders in place. You take the caliper and you just pick it up a little bit. You take the caliper slider and you put it in the grooves of the caliper, you slide it across until the holes line up, and you drop these 1/4 20 bolts through on the front and the back, and then repeat up the caliper brackets. You're going to want to go through, take two 7/16 wrenches, and you're going to want to snug up these, the nut and the bolt, and you're going to want to make sure that once they're all tightened, you still have a little bit of play in the calipers. If these things are bound up at all, you did something wrong. Once you have your wheels installed, your cotter pin is tight, your calipers installed, your caliper slider bracket is tight, you want to make sure that the brakes do activate like they're supposed to. So you can give that wheel a spin, lightly pull up on the activation pull bar, and just assure that it does stop the wheel. Now that you have the lower end all installed, you're going to want to add a handle if you're a current brake truck, or if you have a tread brake truck that already has a handle, you can utilize that. If it doesn't currently have brakes, then you can install a B&P brake handle, and you're going to need to remove the original handle and the fasteners and replace them with a B&P kit. So what we've done is we've removed the original handle, we've recycled the end caps, we installed a B&P A1 handle, and we installed the B&P A1 disc brake upper handle assembly. We've tightened all the fasteners other than this very last one. We're going to tighten that, and then we're ready to install the cable and adjust the brakes. Okay, now that we have our upper handle installed, it's time to install the cable, the yoke, and the clevis pin, and do our adjustment. The cable that comes with the kit is designed to use the old existing frame, the old existing nose plate, and works specifically with the B&P kit. We're going to take the cable yoke, we're going to use a 1/4 20 bolt, and we're going to install it in the upper handle. Once you get that installed, you're going to want to snug it up with 2 7/16 wrenches. Then you're going to want to take the threaded end of the cable, and you're going to take the non-locking 1/4 20 nut, and you're going to put that on. That's your jam nut. So once you get your brake cable all in adjustment, you can cinch that down so it'll stay in adjustment for a long time. I'm going to thread on the yoke. And once I get the yoke threaded on, then we're going to take the pull bar and we're going to line up the hole in the yoke, and we're going to put a clevis pin through it that uses a cotter pin to hold it in place. Okay, once you get your cable yoke adjusted, you want to have about 3/8 of an inch difference between the hole in the yoke and the hole in the pull bar. Install your clevis pin, take the nut, tighten the nut down, and then you're going to want to activate your brakes and make sure that they are locking up the brakes and they're nice and free otherwise. Now that you have this in, you have a lot of thread, so you can adjust it down the road as your brake pads get wear, as you get cable stretch. You can always keep your B&P disc brake truck in adjustment all the time. Okay, now that we have all the parts from our kit installed on our hand truck here, it's time to go around and double check your work. Make sure all the fasteners are nice and tight. Make sure that your nut is tightened on the bolt, so there's thread sticking through that nylock nut to assure that it's locked in place. Make sure that your cable stop nut is tight, your cotter pins are bent. You want to make sure you have play in the calipers so you're not going to end up having anything bound up. One of the things you're going to see in your B&P disc brake conversion kit, you're going to see an extra set of brackets. This particular truck had a cast nose plate. It did not require these brackets. However, if you have a hand truck that has an extruded nose plate, you're going to want to remove the existing nose plate brackets. You're going to want to replace them with these brackets that were in the kit.